In the second film, Moana 2, it's revealed that Moana became a demi-goddess after her heroic mission to return the heart of Te Fiti. This transformation confirms what many fans had speculated since the first film: her connection with the ocean, her unwavering courage, and her ability to restore balance to the world pointed to something much greater than just human bravery. But what if this transition to demi-goddess was already being hinted at in the first film? From the way the ocean chooses her to the fact that she's the only one able to face Te Kā and save Te Fiti, the clues are scattered throughout her journey. Now, with this revelation in Moana 2, the theory that Moana might be destined to be Te Fiti's successor, or even an extension of her divine essence, gains even more traction. Let's explore how this story was built from the beginning and how it connects to Polynesian myths, hidden symbols, and deep narrative messages. The theory suggests that by returning the heart of Te Fiti, Moana not only saves the goddess, but also absorbs part of her essence. This would explain why Moana is chosen by the ocean, a conscious force, and why she seems to have an instinctive connection to nature and to Te Fiti. Some moments in the film reinforce this idea. 1. The ocean's choice. From a young age, the ocean connects to Moana in a special way, choosing her as the savior of Te Fiti's heart. For many, this is a sign that she has something unique within her, perhaps a divine link. 2. Visual parallels. At the climax, when Moana faces Te Kā and returns the heart, there's an iconic moment where they look at each other as equals. Even the colors and aura of Te Fiti seem to mirror Moana's, as if they're reflections of one another. 3. Symbolism of the journey. Moana undergoes a cycle that mirrors Te Fiti's own: life, destruction, and renewal. Her mission isn't just to save, but to understand and restore, something that echoes the divine role of Te Fiti. With Moana 2, her transformation into a demi-goddess strengthens the idea that she's more than human. An interesting interpretation is that Te Fiti's transformation into Te Kā, from a figure of creation to one of destruction, can symbolize Moana's internal struggles. Just as Te Fiti lost her heart and became a twisted version of herself, Moana also faced doubts and challenges that nearly pulled her off course. This could indicate that Moana is not just a restorer, she's a renewed version of Te Fiti, capable of learning from both destruction and creation. If we take Moana 2 into account, where Moana becomes a demi-goddess, this transformation could be seen as a way to protect both the creative and destructive aspects of nature, a balance that only she, with her human experience, could maintain. Another point that supports the theory is Moana's spiritual legacy. Her ancestors were voyagers with a deep connection to the ocean and natural forces. This suggests that her bond with the sea may be more than an individual choice. Perhaps it's a spiritual inheritance passed down through generations. This legacy could be what made Moana worthy of being chosen by the ocean and taking on a divine role in Moana 2. In other words, Moana wouldn't just be a successor to Te Fiti, but also a representative of her entire people, carrying the spirit of her culture to a divine level. By returning the heart of Te Fiti, Moana didn't just restore the goddess, she may have absorbed part of the heart's power. After all, Moana held the artifact during critical moments and was the only one able to carry it safely. What if the heart of Te Fiti acts as a conduit of divine power, imbuing Moana with a fraction of the goddess's essence? That would explain her transformation into a demi-goddess in the second film and reinforce the idea that her bond with Te Fiti is deeper than it appears. And what if the ocean wasn't just choosing Moana, but testing her? Throughout the first film, Moana faces countless challenges that test her courage, leadership, and compassion. The ocean could have been shaping Moana to be worthy of assuming a divine role. With that, her transformation into a demi-goddess in Moana 2 would be the result of proving, both to the ocean and to herself, that she can handle the power and responsibility that come with such a grand purpose. Moana and Maui show that, despite their initial differences, they make an unbeatable team. Maui, with his shape-shifting powers, physical strength, and charisma, represents the unpredictable, powerful, and sometimes destructive side of nature. Moana, with her empathy, courage, and deep connection to the ocean, symbolizes creation, harmony, and balance. This dynamic aligns perfectly with the concept of duality in Polynesian mythology, where the balance between opposing forces is essential to maintain harmony in the world. What makes this idea even more compelling is how Moana 2 could take this partnership to an entirely new level. As demigods, Moana and Maui could be tasked with working together to protect the universal balance. Maui is an established demigod, but his arc in the first film shows that he's flawed and human in many ways. His arrogance and the theft of Te Fiti's heart unleashed chaos in the world, but he also showed remorse, vulnerability, and the ability to learn. Maui is essentially the personification of the wild, unpredictable side of nature, the same force that can bring both destruction and creation. With his immense strength and the ability to transform into any creature, he symbolizes raw, untamed power, something that, without control, can easily lead to imbalance. While Maui is power, Moana is heart. Her journey in the first film showed that she's the only one capable of understanding chaos, represented by Te Kā, and transforming it into harmony. Instead of fighting brute force with brute force, Moana used compassion and empathy, something Maui wouldn't have been able to do on his own. This approach reflects Moana's role as a figure of balance. She not only restores harmony in the world, but also among the characters. She helps Maui rediscover his purpose as a demigod, showing him that he's more than his past mistakes. This partnership could reflect the perfect balance of nature: destructive storms, Maui, and the rebirth of fertile land, Moana, brute force, and creation. Together, they would form a necessary duality to keep the world in order. Although it's a fascinating idea, there are several reasons to believe Moana is not Te Fiti's successor. At the end of the first film, Te Fiti regains her heart and returns to her divine form, restoring the world to harmony. She shows no signs of wanting to pass the torch or give up her role as goddess of creation. Moana may have helped restore balance, but Te Fiti clearly remains in charge of it. In the first film, Moana is portrayed as a human leader with extraordinary determination. Even in Moana 2, where she becomes a demigoddess, this change doesn't mean she's destined to become a full-fledged goddess like Te Fiti. The demigoddess Moana may serve as a bridge between the human and divine worlds, without necessarily replacing an already established divine figure. The ocean chooses Moana because she's brave, selfless, and determined, qualities that make her ideal for restoring balance. There's nothing in the film that suggests Moana already had divine powers or was predestined to be Te Fiti's successor. Moana's message is about human power and the ability to overcome challenges even without supernatural abilities. Making her a predestined figure would weaken that message, shifting the focus from her achievements as a regular person to a divine destiny. Te Fiti represents pure creation, while Moana represents the human spirit and its connection to nature. These two figures complement each other, but are not interchangeable. Moana is unique because she's human, and her transformation into a demigoddess reinforces her uniqueness, not to place her in the same role as Te Fiti. The theory that Moana is Te Fiti's successor is captivating and full of symbolism, but it loses strength when compared to clear elements of the narrative. Moana doesn't need to be a goddess to be extraordinary. Her strength lies in the fact that she's human. Even with her transformation into a demigoddess, she remains a powerful example of how courage, empathy, and determination can transcend limits. And what about you? What do you think? Is Moana truly destined to follow in Te Fiti's footsteps, or does her journey prove that humans can be just as grand as the gods themselves? Share your opinion in the comments.